I'm joined now in the studio by Societe Generale's Chief UK Economist, Brian Hilliard. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's look first of all at the inflation figures that came out today. What do you make of them?
Well, to me, they're actually not a great surprise. We did see some reversal of the discounting in games that we saw last month, but a few other little areas of increase. But now we're back to more or less the short-term underlying rate.
How close do you think we are to reaching our peak?
Very close indeed. The bank is looking for 5%. We're looking for 4.8. That could be lost in the noise of the data.
And is that something that you expect to see happening in the next, next month, the month after? How close are we to
September, October time.
Right. Okay. Now, interestingly, in his letter of explanation, the governor did actually mention, and he emphasised really, the downside risk to the Eurozone, to growth from the Eurozone crisis. What's your analysis of that? Do you think that there is a major risk here for the UK?
Absolutely. I think he's completely right to identify that as the major risk. And indeed, he's reiterating what he said several times before. The last two financial stability reports from the Bank of England have highlighted that as the key risk to the UK banking system, and then he repeated that yet again in the inflation report press conference. So yes, it's important, and he's right to highlight it.
Interestingly though, last week we did actually see the FTSE outperforming the DAX and the CAC. I mean, normally they sort of seem to travel together. There was the idea that perhaps the UK was a safe haven. Do you think that's overblown?
It's pleasing to see, and I think it results from the fact that we do have a deep deficit reduction programme already in place.
Right. Looking at what's happening with sterling, we've seen sterling strengthening today. Again, do you think that that's the beginning of a trend that we're likely to see continuing while Europe is still in crisis?
I would describe it more as being in a zone of stability. We had the really big fall in sterling a couple of years ago, and I don't think we're likely to see major moves as interest rate expectations ebb and flow.
Now, you mentioned there what was happening with Osborne's austerity measures. There doesn't seem to be anything in all of this that's going to put him off his path. Do you think that he's still right?
Yes, I do, and I think the reason for that is not that it's not going to hurt growth, because it certainly will, but that we're boxed in by the markets. If he were to give any signs at all that he was going to relax that austerity package, there would be an attack on gilts, yields would rise, and then guess what? Just like the peripheral countries, we'd have to deliver an austerity package, which is what we're doing already.
Now, you say that it's likely to hurt growth. Where do you see the UK growth going in the short and medium term?
Well, this year we've got a figure of 1.5, but that's probably too high. We'll be looking at that. Next year, a modest increase. So it's well below the trend that we saw before the crisis, and that is very soft.
And indeed, there's no chance, you think, though, that we will actually tip back into recession, or do you think that that is also a possibility?
There's always a modest risk, but we've had unduly volatile quarter-to-quarter data, and we should see quite a bounce in Q3, at least 0.7%.
Okay. Well, let's leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.